Greetings, film freaks. We are the Podcorn Kernels. Join us as we discuss the hard and often indigestible truths that are at the center of the fluffy and delicious world of cinema. Season 2.
What's poppin', people? Welcome to the Podcorn Kernels podcast. My name is Adam, and joining me in your earholes is Harry. Say hello, Harry.
On the 7th of November 2023, the Podcorn Kernels had a huge spike in downloads from a place called Council Bluffs in Iowa, USA. Myself and Adam have sat and pondered as to why something like this could happen, and all we've come to is that someone took our cry for help for more downloads, literally, and then became a fanatical fan of the Podcorn Kernels, and an armed hostage taker who took hold of his office with a 9mm and demanded that everyone pull out their devices and download an episode. And I think it went something like this. You don't understand, yeah? You need to do this. These guys deserve more airtime, and I will make sure it happens. If you do not do it, I will begin to systematically kill someone every 1 hour on the hour. Yes, I know this is Council Bluffs, Iowa, a place that I do not believe is famous for its film fans, but it will be as such after this day. I am the #1 fan.
IMDb describes the synopsis as follows. A stage director and his actor wife struggle through a grueling coast-to-coast divorce that pushes them to their personal and creative extremes. Here is an original song to support the synopsis.
Someone called Scarlett Johansson, someone called Adam Driver, something called Marriage Story will make you believe in divorce, being divorced.
Come on, you're onto something, Noah Baumbach. You're onto something. Add 'em up, Noah Baumbach. Add 'em up.
Being divorced.
Let's start with some facts about the film. Marriage Story is based in large part on Noah Baumbach's own experiences when he and Jennifer Jason Leigh divorced in 2013. According to Baumbach, Leigh read the script, has seen the film, and likes it.
Isn't that the woman from Hateful Eight?
Yes, it is.
It's hung up.
Yes, it is.
She's exceptional.
She's a great actor. She's in The Machinist as well. She's in Atypical. She's popped up in loads of little things, and she's fantastic.
So they got divorced years ago, I assume.
Yeah, in
And
2013.
He's taken this treatment that's probably taken a lot from his own divorce and gone, what, think wife, ex-wife?
Yeah.
And she loved it.
She liked it. It's nice that they have a relationship where she watch a film about their divorce and be like, oh yeah, I still dig it. It's still good.
Yeah.
I hope she said, I'm sorry I hurt you. And I hope he said, I'm sorry I hurt you. And it was a healing process for all involved.
Do you know if they had any cum kept as pets?
AKA kids?
Yeah.
No idea. No
Okay.
idea. That's not in the fact, and I don't deep dive unless I can see what the fact is on screen.
That makes a divorce a lot harder.
I can imagine.
There's a line in the film, the character Bert Spitz, he says, getting divorced with a kid is one of the hardest things to do. It's like a death without a body. And I really related to that. I was like, that makes so much sense because you're kind of closing the door on a part of your life, a huge part of your life.
Yeah. Burying a relationship, basically.
Yeah, unless you're one of them dads who just decides to take your family out and yourself in a murder-suicide.
Well,
to beat the divorce.
that'd be a completely different film, wouldn't it?
It would.
I'd probably like it more.
Mm.
Noah Baumbach, Scarlett Johansson and Laura Dern have all been divorced. Adam Driver is a child of divorced parents.
Okay.
Do you think that relatability helped make the film? Pulling on actual experience really puts them in the position of the characters they're portraying?
I do think there's a much higher propensity for divorce in celebrity marriages. If you're actors, if you're directors, it's just another film in your life. Like the marriage, I mean.
Yeah.
Getting married. Look at, they have these big hoo-ha marriages. They sell the rights to magazines, get paid millions for it. A lot of it's not based on love.
I think as well, if you're in the public eye, your marriage, your relationship, everyone's talking about it, especially if you're a celebrity marrying another celebrity, both already established, that must put stress on it. Because if you've had a bust up with a partner and walk out in your tracksuit bottoms or whatever, or you can't be anonymous. Like, everybody knows your business. Like you say, it can help because you can sell the rights and make money from it, but it's got that added scrutiny, that added pressure must put a strain on even the strongest of relationships, I'm imagining.
I think it's embarrassing. I think it's embarrassing how often you look at the news and it says the girl from Game of Thrones who's married one of the Jonas brothers, Sophie Turner.
Yes.
Sophie Turner divorcing Jonas brother after 2 years of marriage. It's so common in celebrity marriages, and I think it's embarrassing. It's like kids getting married.
Yeah.
For me, it's one and none. That's it. Like, if I was to get divorced, never ever again would I put rings on fingers. It's pointless. If it don't work once, don't do it again. What's the point?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be till death do us part. You failed.
Ooh.
You failed.
That's a bold standpoint.
It's supposed to be till death do us part.
Yeah.
If you either don't believe in marriage, or if it fails once, go, well, clearly, if I say it again, I'm lying. I'm lying to myself and lying to everyone. I personally, let's say I've been to 8 weddings in maybe 4 years. 5 of them weddings have ended in divorce in 7-8 years.
That's an alarming statistic, isn't it?
Well, it means that when they say 50% of marriages end in divorce, I can actually say, I can confirm that from my own personal experience. But when they say 1 in 2 or 1 in 3 people die of cancer, I can't confirm that one.
Yeah.
Let's say, from my personal experience, let's say it's 1 in 20.
Yeah.
But the divorce one, I can actually sit there and say, well, that theory is actually correct when I apply it to myself in my own life.
Front row seats to those breakdown of relationships. You've seen them happen.
Yeah, my mum's been married 3 times.
Do you think that's...
We're all rooting for her to go 4.
Yeah. 100% hit rate.
Yeah.
Do you think that affects your opinion on it? So growing up and seeing that, do you think that's why you like marriage should be one and done?
I don't know, man, because I was really into my dinosaur toys at the time. So the divorce to me was, I was like, can you stop interrupting me?
Yeah, so
I'm trying to play.
Make your marriages as extinct as the dinosaurs and stop wasting my fucking time.
Stop wasting my time.
Yeah, I understand. Adam Driver's performance of Stephen Sondheim's Being Alive from the 1970 Broadway musical Company was recorded live and done in one take.
Exceptional.
Yes.
Exceptional.
Say more kind things.
Gave me goosebumps. Well, I didn't know it was done in one take. That is, all that says to me, though, is that the man's got good taste. He's being an actor. He's clearly frequented the theatre and musicals and honed his craft. So when you love a song, you can nail it. You might not even have to be a very good singer, but if you love a song and you know it off by heart and you sing it every day in the shower, you'll give it a good rendition as best you can.
Passion shines through.
He done it exceptionally well, and I tell you why. Sondheim has some of the most difficult compositions. His timing, his musicals are what I call they're not conventional. They're not like Wicked or Grease. Much easier to follow along with. Sondheim's really, really odd. Yeah, like Into the Woods and stuff. Like his compositions are strange, so they're harder to follow. Like you heard it in Being Alive. It's interlaced with loads of people shouting inspiration towards him and stuff, and that's all timed. Yeah, that's not just random. It has to be bang on bar for him to come back into the verse. Amazing. I didn't know that.
I think the highest accolade I can give it personally is when I first saw this film, when it first came out a few years back. As soon as the film finished, I was like, what was that song? And I immediately found that song, realised it was from a musical, and it's been on my playlist ever since.
Inspiring.
I probably listen to it weekly, and that's not even an exaggeration. Like, it's such a powerful song, so well performed in the actual theatre show and in this film. I think Driver, and I don't know if your opinion of Driver has changed since watching this. I know you wasn't a Driver devotee. I wonder if you're sort of...
I like him.
Yeah, as your admiration grown?
Well, I loved him in Silence. I do like Adam Driver. Not a huge fan. I think Annette played a big part in my dislike.
Well, that'll make you hate most things.
Yeah, because I'm surprised. I think he attached himself to that because of the director's name, Leos Carax. I don't think it's because of the script. Like, Driver, do you want to play a really arrogant, egotistical, non-funny comedian that stands on stage and moans? I wouldn't look at that and be like, that's a role I want. Yeah. The role he does, what his performance in this is Oscar worthy to a point where I would say it deserved an Oscar more than Joaquin Phoenix in Joker. Yeah. I believe so, because Joaquin Phoenix's performance, as great as it is, it was it was in a superhero universe per se, and it wasn't based on real life events and experience. Adam Driver's performance in this, it's comedic, it's dramatic, it's powerful. The bit where he's cry fighting her and he says, I want you to get a horrible illness and die and get hit by a fucking car, and then breaks down crying. It's very hard to look. I find it very. I actually sat there and I thought, I don't know. I think he should have got a fucking Oscar for this.
Yeah, I mean, both their performances in this are so realistic that there's times within watching this film where I'm like, am I supposed to be watching this? It feels so realistic. It's like I'm feeling uncomfortable watching a legitimate argument or a legitimate breakdown. And that's the power of the film, the power of their performances, the power of direction, script, all of it just makes me feel like I'm a fly on the wall and I don't know if I want to be.
And the indirect sniping. So when they have to be quite cordial with each other, but they know in the background they're fucking each other over with lawyers and stuff. It was it was eye opening because you knew from a couple of years ago I was when you said watch Marriage Story, I spat on the floor and I went no.
Yep.
I will not.
Yeah.
Because at the time I wasn't a big fan of either of the actors. I'm still not a huge fan of Scarlett Johansson, but she does do an exceptional job in this film.
Yeah.
And I saw it was a Netflix original and I just thought, I don't know if I want to watch this. Really surprised myself watching it. Found it to be extremely impressive. Yeah. Really impressive film. And I love that. Love comedy mixed with drama, dramedy. One of my, when you can make people laugh and cry in the same film, we said it before, like Forrest Gump, As Good as It Gets, Three Billboards. If you laugh and cry in a film, I think you've got, it has to be, it's a masterful work.
That's life, isn't it? Life is a cocktail, a roller coaster of emotions. And if you can get that in a 1.5 to 3 hour runtime and make you feel all those things, it's masterful.
Well, it keeps you hooked, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that film certainly does this.
Yep.
What else did you like about Marriage Story?
So that was definitely one of the likes. It's dramedy. That's why I love Alexander Payne films, because Sideways, it's got its sad, serious undertones about not fulfilling yourself, but you're laughing at getting pissed up. And Nebraska's funny, but it's about Alzheimer's or dementia.
Yeah.
I love it. I love a dramedy, man. And this one really hit. Do you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me very much of the good films from the 90s.
Yeah.
Like, As Good as It Gets kept coming to mind because I thought that again was probably celluloid film. So that 35mm shot. So the cinematographer, Robbie Ryan, he absolutely adores working with 35mm film cameras. And when he found out Noah Baumbach was going to do it in that, he was all over it. I even wrote down a little quote that he wrote. He said, the undeniable value of film is that it always delivers a solid and aesthetically pleasing image straight out of the camera. I love the matching, natural-looking colour palettes and textures.
Oh.
And he's right, because when I was watching this film, I thought it looks really pretty.
Yeah. But
grainy, and it sounds natural. The sound was in the room, not in my ear.
Yeah.
So when they were talking in the kitchen, it's just, everything was pleasing. And it's been a long time since I've watched a movie, and I found I was really looking at the shots. I don't know if you recall when she's talking to Laura Dern's character when she first meets her, to propose her becoming a lawyer. Scarlett Johansson has a really good monologue, and she goes into the bathroom and the camera stays exactly where it is while she does her shot and talks about it, and then she comes out and she's just off to the left, and it's framed beautifully. And that's why I wanted to read up on it after. I thought, why does this film look so different to a lot of films I'm seeing at the moment? Because most films are digital now, and it really does make a difference. That Robbie Ryan, I think he's exceptional. He's got 2 Yorgos Lanthimos films in the bag, Poor Things and Kind of Kindness.
Yeah.
Post-production, they're not out yet, but he did The Favourite, American Honey, Daniel Blake. The fact that he holds out for films that are going to shoot in real film celluloid 35mm, and seeing that, how rich his film looks, especially the West Coast. So when he was in LA, it looks like honey. The shot's like all honey, and it's grainy, and it looks beautiful, and it just reminded me of them good films from the 90s. I'm not talking the Michael Bays.
Yes,
I'm talking the good movies like As Good as It Gets and stuff. The ones that just, it's all about the dialogue. It's about the development of the characters. Yeah, it really struck me the way it looked, how it made me laugh. Can I quote some of the lines?
Just go for it.
The dialogue, man, it really made me laugh. There's so Nicole Barber to Nora Fanshawe, so that's Scarlett Johansson talking to Laura Dern, she put, I just watched that documentary on George Harrison and I thought, own it, just own it. Be like George Harrison's wife. Being a wife and a mother, that's enough. Yeah, then I realised I couldn't remember her name.
Yeah.
Got, what's his name? Wallace Shawn's in this. Small role, but he's the inconceivable from Princess Bride, and he has a great line with Charlie Barber. So he's called Frank, and he says, so Charlie, what you're going through now is going to be horrible, but it will be over. Charlie Barber, thanks, Frank. Frank, another thing? Yeah? Fuck as many people as you can. Men, women, take what I said seriously.
Yeah.
And then later you hear him off scene. He's finishing a story and Adam Driver walks in and he goes, there I am, 4-time Oscar winner, sucking my dick. I was dying. I was dying, man. It's so funny. There's so many good scenes. I'm just going to hit you with all my likes because I'm doing it. The scene where they have to prove to an auditor that their house is acceptable for custody with the kid, and that woman comes over to watch them eat dinner, and Adam Driver's got this little knife, and
oh god, yeah,
he's the boy wants him to do the trick, and he goes, no, not in front of her. Anyway, he's got a little Stanley knife, which is a razor sharp knife, and he goes, she goes, what's that about? And he goes, sometimes I pretend to cut my arm. And he sort of mimics it on his arm, and then he carries on talking. She goes, your arm, and he's put a fucking 7-inch gash in his arm. Yeah. And then the scene, this comedy that unravels from that happening. He's like trying to let her out the apartment. He puts his arms like around her to get to the lock, and there's blood everywhere. I was laughing, man. Really funny. Yeah,
that's one of my likes, is just how surprisingly funny it is when there's a film focused on the breakdown of a relationship, the trials and tribulations of a broken marriage and how stressful that process is. There is so much great humour in it, and the inclusion of the lighter moments is a realistic portrayal of how there is comedy in even the darkest moments of life.
Got to laugh.
And yeah, it's that. It's like the films that you mentioned, the homage to those 90 films. It's that balance of comedy and dark moments, deeper moments. It's just the perfect portrayal of real life. Yeah.
Oh, I've got a question for you. If you were at a funeral and it was a burial funeral, and as the coffin was about to descend, like a random little cunt cat jumped on the coffin and shat on it and ran off, would you laugh?
Yeah, because I have child humour, and a cat pooing on anything would make me laugh. So I would, yeah, of course.
And imagine all you can hear is the rope just going like...
Yeah.
And the cat just sits on it, looks at everyone like, we're the weird ones.
Yeah.
Shits on the coffin and runs off.
Yeah.
You'd laugh, wouldn't you?
You would, yeah. But that, that sounds like an unfortunate series of events, but I'm sure there's people out there with similar experiences that in the darkest moments the most random thing has happened that's made you laugh.
That's what I mean,
and that's what you remember.
Nothing should be out of bounds when it comes to comedy and laughter.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like there's a lot you like about this film. Have you got any more, or shall I go on to
I'll just keep mixing and throwing that dog up.
Yeah, do.
All right, when you're done with yours.
Okay.
I'll just do it as I go now.
Yeah, do it.
Because I really spoke for him, didn't I?
You did. Be the cat. Shit out what you want, where you want.
I really went for it.
You did, and I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Well, like you, I just really like that it's this realistic, well-made and impactful film. It's an honest depiction of a messy breakup that highlights the nuances and difficulties of dealing with a divorce. And like you, so much of it worked for me. The score, the pacing, and the decision to start the story amidst the separation sort of stage of their relationship all combined to make this really smart, slick and soulful film that manages to be both profoundly heartbreaking and oddly optimistic. Now, I consider this to be elite filmmaking from someone who truly understands the devastation and distress caused by a messy divorce. The way Baumbach balances the blame between the two leads made for this unbiased and unrelenting runtime. And I think that's the biggest power of the film for me, is that I couldn't take a side. And often in these sorts of films, I find myself pitching a tent in one camp and being like, I'm this team. In this one, as the story progresses and as it develops, I couldn't say I was one or the other.
I can take a side.
Okay, well,
go.
Maybe don't bring that up yet, because there may or may not be a question that explores this.
Just let me Ralph my Gilbert.
Okay.
Good.
You did? Cleared it out?
Yes.
Nice. But it's just so much of this film worked for me. My other main like about it was the dual performances. Both Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson are absolutely superb in this. Each one plays villain and victim superbly well, and the roller coaster ride that felt so deeply personal was as captivating as it was challenging. And like you, that argument scene is one that stood out for me, where tempers reach boiling point, and I think it's one of the greatest scenes in recent memory. And also, the two leads are backed up by a supporting cast that are as layered and as interesting as the duo spearheading the story. Now, one thing that sort of amazed me is that I think it's exceptional how Driver and Johansson managed to portray a quarrelling couple that used to have an immense chemistry. Like, that's undeniable, but it's not there anymore as their love has been embittered. But you can somehow buy into an origin story of love that isn't shown on screen. And the way they handle that's amazing, because you can tell that they still love one another, they still care for each other, but they're no longer in love. It's
in the intricacies, isn't it?
Yeah, but you buy it. You buy that there was like previous chemistry. You totally buy that these are two people that used to adore each other, and for whatever reason that love's gone south and it's changed, and their dynamic, their relationship has changed. And it's just as much as what you don't see as what you see in this film that makes it so impactful. You can feel that even though it's a made up story, these are made up people, they somehow manage to act it where you feel like you buying into a love that is no longer there and not shown. The film doesn't spend 10 minutes of 20 minutes showing them at their highest points when they were really truly in love, where everything was amazing. It doesn't show that. It doesn't need to.
Just a few little clips of like him opening a trumpet for a present.
Yeah, and it does a great thing where they like sort of narrate over what they love most about each other, what they used to love most about each other, and that's enough exposition for us as an audience to be like, well, yeah, I get it. And I don't know about you, I really bought into that. I never once watched this and thought, I'm watching two actors, they're not really in love. Like I said earlier, I felt like a fly on the wall. I bought into absolutely every inch of it.
How brilliant was that? In the first 15 minutes, after they've done their show, which, by the way, in this film, it's hilarious. They take the piss out of their very middle-class white theatre company.
Yeah.
Like, it's contemporary, it's that really nauseating theatre you go to where they're trying to send a bigger message. Like, they act like they're the soldiers on the front line of a war. Like, it's ridiculous. But there's a great scene within 15 minutes. Scarlett Johansson finishes a show, and when she gets home with Adam Driver, she says, I can tell you want to give me notes on my performance. And he's like, I don't. And then he does. And anyway, they have a little chat. And I don't know how she done this. Timing-wise, exceptional. But she doesn't let him see it. But she has like 2 seconds, and she says, good night, Charlie. And just as her head leaves the shot into the dark hallway, which he no longer can see her, a tear falls from her eye.
Yeah.
And she goes and lays on the bed and cries. I thought, that is a really well-timed tear. And this is not an actor I've ever rated.
No.
Johansson, I've never thought much of her because she was always just skin tight, framing her boobs and arse and being a very sexualized character in almost everything I ever saw her in.
Yeah, when you're sort of inundated with her as Black Widow from Marvel, it's when that's been rammed down your throat for the last 10, 15 years. Like you, it's hard to remember anything before that. But
she was just always sexual in almost everything I ever saw her.
I mean, even a sort of what I consider to be a breakthrough role, Lost in Translation, even in that, she was
good in that.
Yeah, she was good in that. But even that, she was oddly sexualised because you see the film under the gaze of an older man, of Bill Murray, and they don't form a romantic relationship, but you can still sort of feel that.
I'm not ashamed to admit that in that film, I was dying for Bill Murray to give her one. I honestly was sitting there going, I really hope he gets this, because it's really hot to think that a young, really attractive woman could potentially love and want to be with someone like Bill Murray.
Yeah.
And I was watching the film through Bill Murray's penis.
You're giving hope to the comedians.
Yeah, I was like, come on, Bill.
Go on, do it for us.
And then I realised towards the end she probably sees him more as a father figure. And then I thought, now we've crossed the line, Harry.
Yeah.
We've crossed into something.
But you know what?
Divorce sort of stuff.
You've learnt. You had the foresight to be like, you know what? You don't want to be Bill Murray's penis. And that's massive.
Yeah. I think it would look a lot like his head.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But confident.
Like recede. So instead of the receding holes in his hairline, they'd be his ball bag. Oh. Then he'd have that mega mullet throw around the old shaft, the base of the shaft.
Yeah.
Going down to a proper like scrotal foreskiniums. Sophia Coppola.
Yeah.
Coppola.
Yeah.
I never been able to pronounce that. It's great. I don't think she's done much after that.
No.
Nothing very good, in my opinion.
No.
Great point. Great point. Thanks for reminding me of that.
Yeah, but like you, because of the onslaught of Marvel and Avengers in recent history, it's hard to remember her from before that. And now you've thrown Bill Murray's member into the mix. I'm struggling to think of anything else, but he's triumphant Murray member.
Yeah. And Driver's in Star Wars.
Yeah. It certainly does feel like big actors get presented with a crossroads. Do you want to be popular or do you want to be great? And if you decide to go, you want to be popular, you're in the huge franchises, you're in Marvel, you're tied down to 10 years or whatever it is. And then if you're good enough, you have the time after that, when you finish that role, to build up your repertoire, build up your respect again. Or you'd go, you know what, I respect that, but I'm going to go my own way and I'm going to do interesting projects that appeal to me. I'm not going to go down the franchise route. I'm not going to be like everyone else that's been a superhero, because that's what it is now. Marvel's such a well-oiled machine that they put their gravitational pull so massive that it's a matter of time before even the younger actors that we all adore now that are up and coming are going to be faced with that crossroads. And it's seemingly, I think the more time Marvel goes on for, it becomes less popular. I think it's reached its peak and actors will start wising up and being like, you know what, for longevity, I'm going to go and do the interesting projects with the Paul Thomas Andersons, with the better directors.
I think that's it might be a moot point. I know some people are huge fans of both. Some people love Godfather and Marvel.
Oh, I'm there.
So, yeah, they exist. But yeah, it could be a moot point. I just wouldn't want to be a part of so many copy-paste jobs. You know, it's not for me.
Talking of moot points, what parts of Marriage Story did you have beef with?
Adam Driver's USP is his hair.
I mean,
every film that guy's got the same hair.
He has beautiful hair.
He does, but is he hiding something? Is he hiding
maybe
an ailment or something?
Maybe his head looks like Bill Murray's penis.
Because every single film I've seen him in, he's got that sort of mid-length black bowl. Every film.
It's thick though, isn't it?
It is, but to me,
delicious and thick.
I'd like to see him look different in films, and he never does. Apart from his little goatee in Silence, other than that, everything was the same. But he looks the same in every film. You know, when you look at like someone's back catalogue, and they can look different in almost everything they've done. Like, it's called almost appealing. You can go, sometimes you go the wrong way, Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
Like a wardrobe threw up on him.
Yeah.
But like Driver, just every film, I'm like, change the way you look a little.
That's true. I've never thought of that.
Have a shaved head for one film.
Yeah.
You know,
or dreadlocks.
Just look a bit different.
Mohawk.
Always looks the same.
I wonder if he's got it into his contract, like I imagine Selleck's got in his contract in anything that he has to have a tash. Maybe in his contract he's like, I keep this mop is me.
Selleck's tash.
Maybe, I don't know. That's a good point though. I've seen him in a few things recently and he's always got that lovely jet black mop.
Yeah, that's it, mop.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, do you know what? I might enjoy you more if you looked different in each film you did. Like, expand, like, because he almost Hugh Grants himself. Like, he just looks the same in almost everything he does.
That's true.
I want to see him look a little different. Like, look at what Tom Cruise does in Collateral. He looks polarizingly different to all his other films. He's got like fucking white grey eyebrows, white grey top. Just looks different. I'd like to see Adam Driver changed a little, because I think from Kylo Ren in Star Wars all the way up to Marriage Story, the guys looks the same.
Yeah. I mean,
kind of like Paul Rudd.
Yeah, and he doesn't age, Paul Rudd, so he's timeless. But I do see what you mean. You could cut and paste Adam Driver into any of his films and all that would change is his costume.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
We should do that.
If I had the editing skills, I'd be interested in that.
If I had the hands.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, I don't have hands.
You gonna run with it?
Shh. Shut up.
But you've spoken on this podcast about having tiny baby hands. Now you're saying you have none.
I have not beadled. I don't have beadle hands.
You said you had tiny fingers.
Couldn't rub one out if I had beadle hands. I'd feel like I should put myself on a register.
Okay. What else didn't you like about the film?
Johansson looks like Bon Jovi.
Yeah?
Don't you think?
I can kind of see it.
She looked like Bon Jovi in almost all the film. The way she handled the jeans and a couple of her tops and that the shortcut. Yeah. I was just waiting for her to be like, ew, living on a prayer.
I can see that. So, I mean, it suggests that it's a good film if your only problem is that she looks like Bon Jovi and Driver's got a mop that doesn't change.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the last one was Laura Dern is the Paul Rudd of women.
She don't age. She looks exactly the same as
she ages well.
Jurassic Park.
She ages well.
Was she in Jurassic Park? She was in Jurassic Park.
She was in Jurassic
Cool,
Park.
shit.
Yeah, she's the one that holds onto Samuel Jackson's severed arm. And she goes, "Oh, thank God!" And then his arm falls off.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
That's all I got. They're barely dislikes. One is her hair looks same. Other one is she looked like Bon Jovi, a very successful rock star, and Laura Dern ages really well.
Yeah, they're good. I love the little niche dislikes. That's what I live for. That's what I'm here
If
for.
I was to actually, if I had my thinking head on when I did this, I'd say the kid.
Oh,
Fuck him. I didn't like him.
okay.
He was an annoying little kid.
I found him annoying.
He's
but
annoying.
I mean, it must be difficult for the lad.
Boys are worse than girls, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That sort of shitty talking back, being a naughty kid out sort of age.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I find daughter much more lovable, even when they're mean.
Yeah.
Or being a dick.
Yeah.
But with boys, I'm like, maybe because I am technically. Can I say that? I'm technically a boy.
You're just a boy with decades of experience.
Nice.
Yeah.
And maybe because of that, I've got less patience for the whingy boy kids.
I understand.
So watching this, I was like, he's pissing me off. And when Adam Driver goes, just get in the fucking car, I was like, yes.
Go and get it.
Do you know what I loved, Lou, in that scene? It would have been really cheap and easy for Joe Hansen to go, don't talk to him like that. She stays quiet and lets him reprimand his son.
Yep.
Do you want to apologise for that swallow, mate?
Yeah. I did. Yeah, sorry, I drank a big bit of water there, and I think the mic picked it up.
We're keeping that.
Well, that can be added to your dislikes. My inability to drink. I'll go on to mine. And my main dislike is just reflective. I don't know about you, but watching such a deeply personal insight into a failed relationship made me look inwards and almost put my own relationship under a magnifying glass.
Oh, me too.
This is a me problem. I always do this in films. If there's any sort of relationship turmoil or creative disturbance in someone that's a writer or something like that, I look at it and I'm like, that's me now. I'm that. Like, I watch a film about hiking, I want to go hiking. I watch a film about swimming, I want to go swimming. I'm that impressionable.
I've done that.
But I'm in a stable relationship, but being exposed to a couple who love one another but are no longer in love made me look inwards.
Scary, eh?
Yeah. I can imagine this film could be triggering for those who have either divorced or are on the brink of a breakup. But it speaks to clever filmmaking that encourages personal examination. That being said, I can see how this film could knock the shit out of some people.
Well, I love it because they even say in it, love's not enough. And I can understand why they say that. So you can love your partner beyond belief, passionately. You could want to be with them, every fibre of them. You're still attracted to them. You still want the love life. You still want to spoil them. But sometimes outside influences and strains and pressures can just start to pick away at it.
Of course.
So all you're left with at the end of it is love, but you actually don't have the energy to keep that love warm, to keep it going. And it is scary.
It is, yeah.
It's scary.
I think you would have to be in a stalwart, perfect relationship to watch a film like this and not even have the slightest remnants of, are we all good? Are we? Do I communicate well enough?
No such thing as a perfect relationship.
No, of course there isn't. And I think this film is so clever in that it's like no one's perfect. Like, even if every relationship starts off with the best intentions, the honeymoon period's amazing for everyone, but a long lasting relationship, the longer you're in it, the more difficult it is to maintain it. But of course it is. It's whether or not that love's worth keep fighting for.
Well, I do believe you both equally have to inject it with new ideas, new passion. Like, you should never, ever rest on your laurels in a relationship. If it's been a few months since you've done something nice or you've had a date night, sort it out, arrange it. Yeah. And then, do you know what? If the other partner doesn't reciprocate and try and do it back, then I'd say they're at fault.
Yeah.
You've got to be equal and you both need to keep trying and fight and stop coming up with excuses.
Yeah, Dad.
You've got to make it work. And everyone's at fault. Everyone's at fault.
Yeah.
I have my vices. You've got yours. Like, we're everyone's to blame.
Exactly.
Unless you're a stone cold sociopathic wife beater, like, you can't just say it's 50-50.
Yeah, if you are that person,
you are probably the issue.
You are just a dickhead.
Yes.
Yeah. It's that relationships should be a partnership. It shouldn't be one side doing more than the other. It should be 50-50, or as 50-50 it can possibly be. You need to both be rowing in the same direction to steer the boat. You can't have one not rowing, otherwise it's destined to drown.
You can. It's called fat.
Okay. Another thing I didn't like about it is Loathsome Lawyers. It's another film that paints the lords of law to be nothing more than parasitic leeches.
Cunts.
Both Ray Liotta and Laura Dern are superb in this, by the way, but the pure boy part of my soul can't help but think the breakup could have gone smoother if they didn't employ outsiders to sort out very inside issues. Things get real ugly real quick in this one, and whilst Marriage Story masterfully imagines a realistic breakup, the lawyers and more muted moments of sadness did really get me down. But it is meant to. You're not meant to, like, there's fantastic moments of comedy in this, like we've already mentioned.
Well, they jump between sort of even saying to Adam Driver, Laura Dern does, your plays are amazing. And then within a drop of a hat, she's like, so you're breaking the law now? Yeah. And it's like like they have to switch on characters.
Exactly that. And like they're getting right in the meat of the relationship breakup and all of that, and getting into all the nitty and gritties of it. And then they're like, oh, should we have lunch? Oh yeah, I think I'll have this because it's delicious. It's like, what? Even me, who runs their daily routine based on meal times, I don't think even I could eliminate myself from that high tension situation to decide what food I want.
I felt sorry for Adam Driver in that scene because he's indecisive.
Yeah.
And it's awkward when everyone's waiting for you to make a decision. And I thought it was sweet that Scarlett Johansson knew what he'd want, so she takes the Emmy off him and says what he'll have, and he just sort of looks broken.
Yeah.
Oh, it killed me.
Yeah.
It was so sad.
I mean, this film is a really good balance of positivity and negativity. It shows how heartbreaking it is when a relationship breaks down, but it also shows that there is a life after a divorce. Like, you can still have an amicable relationship. You can push past it. You can find happiness again without the person that you thought you was going to spend the rest of your life with. And I think the film's very clever in doing that. My last dislike is 4 words. Plight of the privileged.
Yes.
As I said, the film's expertly balanced and is equal parts heartbreaking and heartwarming. It made me feel everything I can possibly feel, and I think it takes a special film to make me not side with either side of the divorcing pair. But when I see 2 people who are able to make a living by exploring their creative visions, own 2 properties, one in LA and one in New York, and can afford to go to marriage counselling and afford top-tier lawyers, my sympathy and empathy is slightly lessened.
And get a $500,000 grant to pursue your creative.
Yeah, I'm bitter boy. I know I'm bitter boy, but it's hard to like play a small violin when I'm seeing people that whole existence they can be as creative and expressive as they want when the rest of us can't. We have to crowbar it into our mundane existences.
Driver says it to Johansson in the film. He says, no, you liked this life until you decided you hated it.
Yeah.
Because you know when someone's happy. And, you know, she was the lead in a really, really prestigious play in New York.
Yeah.
She had a baby there. She had a husband there. And then decided, I want to reignite my film career again in LA. And it became about personal career, etc.
Yeah.
And I agree with her. He shouldn't be the only one getting glory, but she was the lead in his play.
Yeah.
So she was, it was her idea. He put the play on and then she was the lead in it. It's not like she weren't acting anymore.
No, he was involving her in a shared passion. They both loved what they were doing and were able to do it as a couple. That's amazing.
I mean, she does say at first it was my name that was getting the attention, and then it became him because of how well he started to direct plays, and then she just became attached to him. I was like,
bit jealous.
It's a bit petty, it's a bit jealous, and didn't understand why. At first she was amicable and they were just like, let's just do it between us, fuck the lawyers, right? And then she starts going for his throat, and then she reveals, well, I saw the emails, because she had a suspicion he cheated on her with someone from the theatre company, and she goes, but then I saw your emails. So that's why she turns on the knife and goes for him. But I'm like, you're right, you're both being dickheads now, because this is money that your kid could use for go to college.
Exactly, yeah.
And you'd rather spank it up the wall trying to hurt each other's feelings. Fuck that, man.
Yeah.
Fuck that. If I get divorced, she can have it all. Absolutely everything.
And me and you walk into the wilderness.
Man don't need balls and pipes. Man needs a pair of boots, 10 quid.
For a Guinness.
And for a Guinness.
Yeah. Simple boys, simple pleasures.
As long as kids are happy and they're looked after and they're warm at night and their stomachs are full, fuck everything else. I would give it all to them.
Like Marriage Story, that was oddly beautiful, heartbreaking, heartwarming, all of the feels.
Yeah, but then she'd probably send me a video of her just noshing off some new guy, and then I'd cut.
Guess who that new guy is?
You.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
That got real dark.
If that
real
happened,
quick.
I wouldn't pursue your partner. I'd pursue your mum.
Well,
So I could say, as per school years, I fuck your mum.
you would be a motherfucker.
Oh.
Okay. That took a twist, didn't it?
Sorry, I don't know what's going on today.
That's all right. No worries. I've got some questions if you're interested.
Yes.
Which two actors would you like to see play a married couple and why?
Idris Elba and Matthew McConaughey.
Go on, son.
I think Conaughey would be a dirt power bottom.
Okay.
And I think Idris Elba would narrate every moment of their beautiful, fiery relationship.
They've done a film together called The Dark Tower.
Yeah, Stephen King, awful.
Yeah, but now that would be a completely different film if they were a married couple, wouldn't it? Yeah. Yeah?
Yeah.
I didn't expect you to go there, but that's a great answer. I'd be interesting to see.
I didn't know that question was coming.
Yeah. You did a very good job in answering.
I can't even tell you why it was them.
I don't know.
So maybe I'm without myself even knowing, maybe I'm looking for an excuse for this divorce so I can
let it all out.
Try other things.
Let it all out, mate. Maybe you want your own dark tower. Maybe.
Somewhere I can go and just be myself.
Yeah, dog. Well, my answer would be Cate Blanchett and Christian Bale. Just how intense would that relationship be? Intense people being intense relationships.
Cate Blanchett?
Yeah.
I thought you said Beckinsale then. I was like, I don't see it. Blanchett. Not now, though.
Yeah.
No, because they're both getting a bit
wrinkly,
isn't they?
What you saying, bro? Old people can't be in love. Excuse me.
No, I'm saying I
wouldn't
wouldn't have minded the thought of, so let's say when she was Gladriel. Like, that'd be pretty hot.
Yeah, it would.
That'd be kind of cool.
I just love to see the intensity of two very intense people in a relationship. Maybe even in a breakup environment. I think that would be interesting.
In a film, you mean?
Yeah.
In a film. Okay, yeah. No, that would be good.
Yeah.
Has he ever done... He's not really ever done romance, has he? Bale. He was in 3:10 to Yuma. He had a wife, but
Yeah.
it wasn't kissy kissy love.
Yeah, I don't think this would be a kissy kissy love film. I think it would be a breaky breaky heartbreak film.
But you'd still would have had to have kissy kissy loved
to get to the breaky breaky heartbreak.
Exchanged fluids and had great time prior to the bracky walk up.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Do you think a person's reaction to Marriage Story is a direct result of their personal experience with divorce?
Could be, but I think you can be enamoured and in awe of something without having personally experienced it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I didn't watch this film and apply my own sort of history or, say, experience of divorce
Of course.
to the film. I watched it wanting to just see where's this going.
Yeah, I think you certainly could, though. I think, dependent on your individual personality, I think you could watch a film like this and be affected by it for days. You might watch it and you might be someone who being divorced is the best thing that's ever happened to them and could watch it and have a really positive response. For me, it's one of those films that sort of elicit great emotion, whether it's good or bad. So I think it could either rub people up really the wrong way, or it might, for some people, might be like, I now know what I need to do.
What you think this film, like you were talking earlier about, you see a film about hiking, you want to hike.
Yeah.
I did that. So I watched The Way and I actually went and walked in Spain.
Yeah.
You saying if I watch this and I'm on the brink of like thinking it's over between, say, me and partner, that I watch this and I'm like, yep.
I'm not
I want a
saying
divorce.
I'm not saying that.
No, but your theory is correct.
Happen.
Your theory is correct. If you watch a hiking film and it makes you hike, that if this inspires you to get divorced, imagine the poor woman or guy, though, that was just going on about their life and the person went, I watched a great film last night. Was it Marriage Story?
Yeah, it's over.
It fucking served.
Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah.
I'm so inspired.
Mate, I wouldn't put it past. It's a powerful film and powerful films can make people do powerful things. So I would not be surprised.
That line Johansson says absolutely cracked me up. What did she say? She says she's on the film set of her new shit film, but it pays well. And she says, my ex-husband, sort of like the opposite of a fiance.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
That was excellent.
I like that. For reasons that are unexplainable and completely impossible, you are now the child of Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson in this film. Things get worse and you have to decide if you want to dive in and live with Daddy Driver or move in with Mummy Scarjo. Who are you picking as your parental guardian and why?
I'd go Driver. Now, this is not a morality issue, but I'd go Driver because even though he's cheated on Scarlett. They hadn't had sex for like a year or something. So he buried his berries somewhere else.
Yeah.
But he didn't pursue it. He didn't continue to do it. And even when they were breaking up, the woman tried to pull him back in. He said no. Whereas Scarlett in the film, I know she's getting some sort of like mental revenge by getting fingered in a car and then getting a boyfriend. But I thought, you need to be really respectful of your kids when they're young at that age, but they can absorb stuff. So you shouldn't jump quickly to a new partner when you've had a divorce. It's not fair on the kids. It really isn't. And Driver doesn't. He puts his focus into his work. And I think Scarlett Johansson, she was getting revenge on all fronts. She was gutting him for the money. She was just making it almost impossible for him to continue working because he had to keep coming to Vegas. And then on top of that, she was also pursuing men. Ends up with a guy anyway in the film, outside of her marriage to Adam Driver. And I just think with kids involved, you need to be really careful with moving through men or women quickly, because it makes your kid kind of confused, because you don't know how long that person's going to stick around for.
Yeah.
You start to get a bit confused about what's dynamic in life, what's normal. And usually kids of divorce tend to get divorced. That's quite common, I think. And point I wanted to make was, I believe the way the film ends and the way it builds to it, that they actually will end up together again.
Yeah.
So she will leave the boyfriend she's with and the kids be even more confused. But I honestly believe they'll end up together, because there's a little bit where he crosses the road off collecting his son, but he tells her, he goes, I've taken a job in LA. And that's the big issue. She wanted to go and do a bit of her life out there.
It's exactly that, yeah.
And he's done nothing. He's not moved on. He loves it. I think he realises in New York that without her and his son, he isn't happy.
No, it's a very lonely existence.
And she smiles at him, like almost, we might get back. And then she does up his lace and he walks off. And I think the film, it speaks more to them getting back together than it does that this is final.
It certainly ends on a note of hope rather than a note of this embittered relationship where they're only seeing each other because they have to drop off or pick off the kid. They've got a good relationship still, and it certainly ends on that note. And it feels like it ends on that because all that needed to be done was her being able to explore what she wanted to explore. If he hadn't gone and thrown it in someone else, and if she would be a bit more communicated better that she wants to do the things that she wants to do, maybe they wouldn't have even got to this position. But now that they've gone and explored what they want to explore, it might not be the end of their chapter.
But can you imagine though, like being told to just drop your life's work?
Yeah, I'd struggle.
To go to LA where that person's already had a career.
Yeah. They've
already done their films, and then they wanted to do something a bit more prestigious. Imagine dropping it all. It takes time to... If I was Adam Driver, I would have done a compromise. I would have said, why don't you go out there with the boy every month or every couple of weeks, or when you're working, etc., and we'll just both fly back and forth. She just compromised, said go. But from the sounds of it, he doesn't let her do that.
No.
I think it's very important in a relationship where if you've done something someone's way for a very long time, you need to listen to the other person when they say, I want to do something different. I want to try my way now.
Works both ways,
because
doesn't it?
all you're doing there is draining that tank.
Really are.
And it'll be, one day it just will be empty.
So true. Completely agree. What would you rate Marriage Story out of 10?
9.
Okay.
But you're surprised by that, aren't you?
Well, the more you spoke about it, the more I realised how much you enjoyed it. So I was expecting it to be high, not necessarily as high as a 9, but
good film's a good film.
It is. I mean, it's undeniably good. It's an objectively well made, well thought out, well performed, executed film.
Looks beautiful, paced excellently. I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's hard to I don't. It's common consensus that this is a good film. It's highly rated on most things. People seem to praise it. People that have been through divorce say it's an honest depiction, like it does all the things it sets out to do. I went a bit less than you, and I'd give it an 8 out of 10, which is there's not much in it. I think it's a bloody good film. Everyone involved does a bloody good job, so it's bloody worth watching.
Bloody.
Yep. That gives Marriage Story a total score of 17 out of 20. If you like your dramas to be beautifully balanced, bloody heartbreaking, and boldly buoyant, or if you've ever wanted to see two big screen beauties be unflinchingly ugly to one another, then Marriage Story could be a film for you. Marriage Story is available to stream on Netflix. Consider watching this one if you enjoyed Kramer vs. Kramer, Crazy Stupid Love, and The Breakup. Should we play a game?
Give it a name, give it a name, give it a name now. We birth a plot and then make a trailer.
What the plot?
Action.
All right then. Man is born with 4 lungs.
Of course he is.
Which means he can exert himself beyond anything a human can do. Running, fighting, swimming. And all mankind see is a specimen that they want to mate with to evolve the human race. So look, 4 lungs appear, so we become like a bit of a super race. So rather than just accept this unique anomaly as like, wow, that guy's got 4 lungs, they want to, kind of like E.T., they want to capture him, experiment on him and stuff.
So they want to exploit that breathing capacity to help others, maybe. Just
like dog breeding. They're thinking, this guy's he can run faster for longer. He's stronger because the oxygen capacity he can get into his body just means he's an absolute physical beast. It turns into a chase movie because he doesn't want to become some sort of lab rat. And basically huge corporation, like pharmaceutical corporation, essentially are hunting him down. Bit of a road movie, I suppose, or just a getting away from it movie. Kind of like Apocalypto, maybe, in terms of him just not trying to get back to a baby and a wife, but he's trying to escape them. And obviously this is where the physical attributes that he's got come into play. Like, he's faster, he's stronger. He's the sort of guy, given his little sort of strength and his size and his lungs, that if he could run and barge a tree and knock it out its roots, like, he's so strong. It's not a superhero. He's born with 4 lungs.
But the capacity to be more because he can breathe. He can breathe like 2 people.
Yep.
So he's kind of like a superhero without having. They're not superpowers. He's just enhanced.
Well, even theoretically, like, say, if scientists, they can do it sometimes. They could be like, if we lived in like 1 g less of gravity or pressure, like we'd physically be different. We'd look different.
Okay.
Everything would be different. So you can theorize. Someone say, oh, what if someone's born with 4 lungs, or we evolved to have more lungs when we were old, when like 400,000 years from now. So he becomes basically, all the medical corporations, they want him to either breed with him or experiment on him and find out why, because all he's got from it is benefited. None of it's become an ailment. It's not like, he was born with like half a heart.
Yeah.
He's super.
So it's only benefited him, the fact that he's got 4 lungs.
Yeah.
And this evil lab, sinister scientist type vibe are people that want to study why he is like this and see if they can to sort of replicate it, because you're basically making a super soldier, aren't you? If they can weaponize it,
mostly I would say it would have military application. They'd want it to use it to dominate. Okay. like they do now in the world. Technology is the same. If someone gets a new technology or a new satellite that can pinpoint a bullet into a house in fucking Iraq or something, everyone wants it.
So I guess this story is kind of like an origin story, in a sense that you see someone that's got 4 lungs, which is obviously very unusual, and they could be an elite athlete smashing all sorts of records in all sorts of sports, and like doing it in such a way that everybody's looking at this person. Yeah,
could swim the length of a pool in 5 seconds.
Yes, people are like, well, if he or she is this good at so many different sports, is doing so many mad things, they never get tired, they never get out of breath because they've got fucking backup lungs. Like they would get exploited relatively quick, breaking all sort of high school records, all that sort of stuff, getting the media interest, and there could be this pharmaceutical company that are sinister with what they want to do. Mm-hmm. So I see it as a straight up action thriller type film. Lots of action. I guess if there's a person that's got this ability that everyone doesn't have, by default he's going to be fighting, or she's going to be fighting a lot of people because they want to try and treat him, like you say, like a lab rat. So starring in the lead role, I'd have Jonathan Majors, who's in
he's great,
Loki, Last Black Man in San Francisco. He plays Kang in Loki, and he's the big villain in the latest phase of Marvel, and he's just a unit.
He did a World War II fighter pilot film as well. I watched Devotion.
Yeah,
I think it's
haven't
Devotion.
seen it, but I know he's in it. Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I just think he's a fantastic specimen of a man. Like, he's built and he's charismatic, charming. I know there was recent scandal and speculation about his personal life, which has all been cleared now, so it's fine to cast the bloke. I see him in the lead. Directing it, I would say the Russo brothers, who've got experience in that superhero world, even though this isn't a superhero film, but they know how to do an action film.
They do everything.
They did, Infinity War, Endgame. They did The Grey Man, but we can forgive them for that.
Oh, Lord.
But they know how to handle a big budget action film.
Yeah.
And I see this as a big budget action film.
Yeah.
And the only other bit of casting I have is sort of the head CEO of this pharmaceutical company,
Mark Rylance.
and I've got I've developed. I personally have evolved where I will try not to cast Mark Rylance in every What the Plot that I give the answers to, but in this sort of evil villain science guy, I'm going a little bit different. I'm going Glenn Howerton from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Glenn, is he?
He's Dennis.
Dennis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's got a genuinely menacing character in his locker. I mean, Dennis is a sociopath within It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, but in a big action role, I could see him having loads of fun as like this villainous pharmaceutical CEO or something.
I want him.
Yeah.
I want that bitch.
Don't get him. I want those lungs.
Yeah.
Like, you can see him being really intense. So yeah, they're just the two castings I've got.
That's
Jonathan
great.
Majors and Glenn Howerton in a Russo brothers directed film, and I'd call the film Breathe Easy. One man has the lung capacity of 2 men.
I can outrun, outswim, outmuscle anyone. I just want to be normal.
Get me the man with the 4 lungs! Obviously, an evil pharmaceutical company wants to exploit his breathing capacity. He can swim like a dolphin and fight like an ox. We can weaponize him, goddammit!
I'm done running. It's time to fight.
From the directors that brought you Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. He can breathe really, really well. Breathe easy. Coming soon.